Double breath. Huh.
So many choices.
Obviously, Warpath Plague if I want. There's no Conjurer's Calling, so... What are my opponent's big threats left? Calicos? I could, like... Super Collider... But, like...
I gotta move.
Super Collider plus Mummy. I'm gonna...
Maybe.
No tomb can hold me. No tomb can hold me.
I want to hold the Plague. My opponent could still, like, you know, discover a Conjurer's Calling off of Calicos or something like that. We don't have a way to answer a really big board right now otherwise.
Need a key?
Okay. Ooh, Power Creation is one of the big threats. Gone.
Time runs out on me.
Sure. Okay. Um. Could smack this Zodiacs. Zodiacs. Small guy attack this. There. No. I'm gonna attack that.
Hammer time.
Zodiacs.
I gotta move. It's hammer time.
Saving Warpath with the Plague of Wrath as an activator in case my opponent is able to generate a big board off of like a Calicos Conjurer's Calling or Alexstrasza. That's why we're saving them. These two are a pair right now. Granted, I have the Cobalt Spellkin, and we may get like a Whirlwind off that, in which case we can possibly use our Warpath or something, but for the moment, we got poofed. Oof. Okay.
A simple spell should do.
Assembly and... Okay, we'll assembly. Claw. Quick, play Unstable Element. We're saving Voon for Alexstrasza. Like, this is very much an attrition battle. We're not like gonna like rush our opponent down. My opponent still has Blizzard, Polymorph, Zephyrus. Sure. Why did you Frost Nova this? Feels like a huge waste. This Pilot Reaper. It dies. Boom. Eternium Rover. Ooh, AI. Oh, you're gonna deck yourself. Fatigue incoming. What did just Pocket Galaxy though, so Reno knows. He's on
I see a vision.
the good stuff. It'd be challenging for my opponent to win. Barring some craziness from
Thought I had more time. Coming!
I mean, I could just play like Deathwing,
Maybe.
and it clears these.
No.
Funny thing is, I can actually just armor, and then this is gonna kill. This is gonna die. So play. So that's what I'm doing. Ooh, Tome. Don't have to worry about the overdraw. Hehehe. So fancy. We're saving coin for next game. We're gonna invest it. You understand how important it is to invest. We're getting compound interest on this coin.
Thought I had more time.
Another one. First one off of. What? I'm confused.
Maybe. Magic neutralized.
Oh, it's from Blazing Evocation, right? Alright. This can't be targeted. Okay, so it's not splitting image. Counterspell. Spellbender, okay.
I gotta move.
Alright. 55. Waxmancy. Ooh, fancy.
is my suggestion.
What are you doing here? Sarah, deadly shot. Overpower, thanks for the cheer. Where's the tan? I mean, I live in Southern California. You know, there's already lots of opportunities for tan here. Okay, so we can Warpath, Plague, Coin Warpath. Innervate. Oof. Reno, you gotta understand, you can't innervate at 10 to get to 11. The mana cap is 10. And what it does still have, Alexstrasza. We have ramming speed. Coin did pay off. There was no reason to use coin before. Don't just spew your coin.
What would make us rich?
That coin paid out dividends.
I bring life.
Another soul to consume.
Got something to hide?
My Alexstrasza. Huh. And this kills the board and dies. Leaves exactly this. Yeah. Whoa! Ripper!
My spellbook's running light.
Whoa! Oh my god! That was so powerful! Now he has the actual Alexstrasza left still. That's only copies. Holy cow. I mean, I have ramming speed, but then I still have to deal with the next one. Alright.
From nothing, power.
Can Warpath attack. They still have to actually beat Alexstrasza, is the thing. I have ramming speed. Play this now.
I gotta move.
Okay, that's good. Holy Ripple. Okay, ow. So I still have ramming speed to deal with Alexstrasza and like a big thing. This is already in play. I have my own Alexstrasza. My opponent still has Calicos too. Yeah, if Reno like casts like Espionage, that would be
Life and hope.
really something. Oh no? Okay. Big Dragon?
For example, Victini V, which was featured in multiple decks yesterday on stream. And of course, you have things like Chinchino as well. Just many different Pokemon that just kind of attack the game from different angles, all featured in day one of Swiss yesterday.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to see. You also have a ton of the trainer cards from the set, putting in a lot of work. Quick Ball is probably in every single deck list we've seen here today.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't. It really is extremely powerful. It's an effect that we've seen before many times over in the Pokemon trading card game, just, you know, in different iterations. Sometimes you would just find the basic and it goes immediately to the bench, for example. In this particular case, you actually, it comes at a cost of discarding a card from your hand, but most decks actually want to be able to pull that off, as you get to actually thin your deck and sometimes even add additional resources to your discard pile for things like Perfection for Mewtwo and Mew Tag Team GX, or sometimes it's just energies that you can bring back to the field through other sources.
Yeah, it's definitely shown a lot of versatility in the format. And for those of you watching at home, be sure to keep up on social media using hashtag #PlayPokemon on Twitter and then all other social media, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
You nailed it. That is exactly the social medias that we do love to use here on the Pokemon stream, especially Twitter, especially the hashtag #PlayPokemon. I can't stress enough how awesome it is to be able to see the voices, or see the voices, yes, of all the different fans around the world, as I love seeing how people think about the new set, how people believe that certain cards are just underplayed and underappreciated, and then before you know it, these cards actually end up being big players in the future of the Pokemon trading card game.
Yeah, and then let's take a look at the format for this tournament this weekend that we've had. We've had day one yesterday on Friday, Swiss rounds. Players with 19 match points or greater advanced to day two. We had 49 players total going in to compete today.
That's 49 Masters Division players, absolutely. Yep. Remember, day one of Swiss was Friday, and that was actually day one of Swiss for the Masters Division. It's a huge division. It's just filled of, it actually gets filled to the actual top. There are no more players that could have actually been registered. It literally got filled up, and that meant that we had a long day of Swiss yesterday before we cut to only 49 Masters Division players competing in Saturday's Swiss. That does mean that we have 5 additional Swiss rounds before we are able to cut to a top 8. This is my favorite part of the tournament, Jeremy, because every round matters so much. Some people are just playing for championship points. Some other people really have that top 8 in their sights. And the moment that they get that top 8, it's a huge accomplishment. Being able to say that you are a top 8 player at the international championships is something that very few players can actually pull off. And of course, these 49 players have a chance to be able to add their names to that list. Remember, Championship Sunday is what it's all about. These 2 days of Swiss, Friday and Saturday, they culminate with Sunday's championship as 6 different players, 3 from the video game and 3 from the trading card game, get crowned the champion at the Oceania International Championships.
Yeah, and that is what these players are playing for, the title of 2020 Oceania International Championship for the TCG. And then, of course, over $130,000 in prizes between all 3 games here, the TCG, VGC, and Pokken tournament.
Yes, indeed. There are so many prizes on the line as we compete at this international championship. Keep in mind, of course, everybody's hoping to become that 2020 international champion here in Oceania, but there's only 1 player per division that can actually claim that title. The rest of the players are going to have the consolation prizes of a lot of cheddar.
Yeah, of course, and the championship points. Worlds is always the end goal for these players throughout these tournaments.
Yes.
You want to be world champion. You want to get your deck featured in stores, and that's just what the goal is.
Yeah. Well, as our Masters Division players have dwindled down to 49 players, the juniors and seniors are just beginning their tournament. Saturday is the first day and the first round of Swiss for the juniors and seniors division. We have a very special start to this tournament, as we are going to feature perhaps the top trainer in the senior division in Reagan Retzloff.
This man has been putting in work throughout his young Pokemon career. Again, the juniors and seniors, they're the future of this game. We're the old men. We've had our time, but these are the players that are going to be playing for years on end, and he's already shown a ton of work, just putting in multiple international titles, a few runner-ups as well. It's really just, he's no stranger to this stage.
Of course, there is no better way to kick off this day 2 than with Reagan Retzloff. And of course, we have a top trainer video of Reagan. Let's watch it now.
My name is Reagan Retzloff, and I'm a TCG senior top trainer. One of my friends brought over some Pokemon cards, and we didn't know of the game, we were just collecting. Brett Burns taught me how to play, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was pretty good. So my parents started letting me travel to, I think my first tournament was St. Louis of 2016. I enjoyed it a lot. To prepare for events, I test with my friends. We play against each other, see what decks are good against other decks. I don't like slow decks that much. I kind of like fast, hit hard early decks, like Pikachu and Zekrom, Archie, Stoys. I think that can overwhelm your opponents sometimes, making them maybe misplay. I just enjoy playing fast decks.
Hello, Pokemon fans, and welcome to the 2017 North American International Championship. Let's head down to the match to crown a Junior International Champion. There's the handshake. Reagan Retzloff is your 2017 North American International Champion.
My favorite TCG card is Pikachu and Zekrom GX, because I've done very well with it. I play Pokemon because I get to travel around the world and meet new friends. The Pokemon community is very great. I really enjoy just hanging out with my friends, and I like playing Pokemon a lot because it's strategic.
That was a quick look at maybe the most dominant senior division player we have today. If not the most, and definitely one of the most. He is a two-time international champion, Jeremy. He just has a long list of accomplishments, much longer than maybe the majority of the 49 players playing in the Masters division today.
Well, quite a few, but yeah. Reagan, throughout this whole time, we basically watched him grow up on these streams. And it's pretty insane to think about. He's going to have to have a whole nother room of just his trophies.
Indeed, and remember, this is going to be round 1 of action for the senior division today, as we see both players now set up and ready to begin. We have Reagan Retzloff going up against Mateus Kanan, as both players are actually going to be playing very similar deck lists as we see the prizes come down. I'm really excited to get to cast this match, as it's going to feature fire versus fire, Jeremy.
Yeah, it is like similar list, like you said. I think only 3 or 4 cards difference between the two. Mateus is actually playing the exact same list we saw Gustavo Wada play on stream yesterday. Both of them from Brazil, probably testing together as well. Meanwhile, Reagan, he's like, yeah, this deck is pretty good too, but has a few different tech cards for other matchups, and we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, these two Fire Welder decks going head-to-head in this first round of Swiss between, once again, Mateus and Reagan here. Both players set and ready to begin, just waiting to get that thumbs up to flip their cards over and shake each other's hands before we begin round 1 of action. As there it is, there's that handshake. There is the flip of the cards. That means one of these players gets to go first, and it looks like it's going to be Reagan. And keep in mind, Jeremy, this may be one of the few matchups where you really want to go second.
Yeah, both of these players playing the Victini V and Volcanion, which help you just get more energy in play going second. Welder as well. And so it really puts that reliance on some matchups where you choose to go, or you want to go second, some matchups where you want to go first. This one, maybe leaning towards the latter.
Yeah, the former. Way to confuse me there. But yeah, so Reagan is actually going to be going first, and he does play a quick ball, discarding a fire energy to find himself any basic Pokemon in his hand. But I believe that you're absolutely right. I believe that this is going to be one of those matchups where going first is actually a bit of a detriment, as you want to be the first person to get your Welder into play, but you also want to be able to use cards like Volcanion to their full potential, and of course Victini V also having a similar attack there. Now, that doesn't necessarily spell defeat for the player going first. It's just, you know, it's a little bit of of an annoyance, as you are going to get to potentially see your opponent get pretty far ahead of you if Mateus does have a powerful start here. Now, Reagan found a Heatran GX with that quick ball as he takes
Cherish
a good... I'm sorry, with that Cherish Ball, as he does take a good look at his deck to be able to figure out what may be prized there. And there's a Dedenne coming down. That's Dead A change, discarding the rest of his Reagan's hand to draw 6 new cards.
Yeah, and Reagan's turn is actually pretty good here for going first. Top decks the Jirachi. Unfortunately, did not start it like Mateus, but having the Jirachi just being drawn off, the Quick Ball was able to get him the Dedenne GX. The Cherish Ball gets the Heatran GX, and that's one of your best attackers early game, just being able to knock out a lot of the smaller stuff turn 1.
And how about that Stellar Wish finding the Welder, perhaps the most important card to find in this deck, as Welder is going to be a key play for Reagan on the second turn of the game.
Yeah, the Heat Factory Prism Star as the stadium for the turn is kind of going to help Mateus a little bit, but it's one of those cards where both players kind of just like, I'm fine with it being in play.
Yeah, indeed. And now that is going to be the end of the first turn here for Reagan, as Reagan actually got quite a good setup despite going first there. Once again, aided by the power of the Jirachi, the Heat Factory, and of course, the Dedenne over there. Now, turn 1 for Mateus looks a little bit similar as we see a Heatran GX get benched, and now Heat Factory discarding a fire to draw 3 new cards for Mateus.
Oh, this is a little awkward here. A ton of fire in hand, as well as that Ninetales, but not really having access to much else except for the Dedenne GX in his hand, so he would have to discard a lot of the stuff.
There it is. I was looking at that at that stadium. I was looking to see if he was going to be playing it in order to counter the Heat Factory and not allow Reagan to potentially get ahead, and he did indeed decide to play that Giant Hearth.
Yeah, well, this could also be a double-edged sword because Giant Hearth is able to fuel Welders for Reagan next turn.
Yeah, it is indeed. So that's the part of this matchup that gets really interesting. Your stadiums, which tend to only help you in most matchups, actually end up helping your opponent out as well. So despite countering that Heat Factory and not allowing Reagan to draw additional cards every turn, he is actually going to allow Reagan to find himself any 2 fire energies. And we know that Reagan has the Welder, but we don't know if Reagan has the fires yet. So having that Giant Hearth in play could help Reagan out tremendously.
And here we see Mateus actually eyeing down Volcanion or the Victini V. Both are very important cards to get extra energy in play on your second turn, or your first turn going second.
Indeed. Now, Mateus does take a nice, good look at his own deck. Reagan did the same on turn 1. Mateus now taking a good look, making sure that there isn't anything critical prized. And I believe that for both of these players, there really isn't. Yes, they have 3 energies each in their prizes. But aside from a Welder apiece, it's looking like they got fairly fair prizes.
Yeah, and of course, Mateus eyeing down this Volcanion, it kind of signals to me that he has a Welder in hand, already attaching for the turn to the Heatran GX on the bench.
Yeah, I would assume that there's a Welder in hand as well. Remember, he has not played a supporter yet. He just played the Dedenne to Dead A change. Now we see a Jirachi using Stellar Wish, which means that Jirachi will fall asleep there, so we're going to need to see either an escape board